Have you seen Sing Street, or maybe Once? Well, John Carney, who directed both of those, is delivering another musically themed story with Flora and Son. Now, this debuted at Sundance, but I wasn't able to catch it there. Luckily, it was snatched up by Apple and is now coming to the streamer. So, are you going to want to watch this one? Flora is a single mom who is at war with her son Max. While trying to find a hobby for Max, she rescues a guitar from a dumpster and finds that one person's trash can be a family salvation. This stars Eve Hewson, who you may recognize from things like Apple's Bad Sisters or Netflix's Behind Her Eyes. There's also Joseph's Gordon Levitt, Jack Reynor, and relative newcomer Oren Kinlan. Now, through so much of this story, we watch Hewson's Flora have just a very dysfunctional and angry relationship with her teenage son Max, played by Kinlan. Now, they are terrible to each other for much of this, with Flora sometimes acting more immature than Max. But Max, he also gets himself into trouble on his own, and after a session with the police, they encourage Flora to find something for Max to do that will keep him busy and out of trouble. And that's when Flora finds a discarded acoustic guitar, gets it fixed, and then tries to gift it to Max. He wants nothing to do with it, so Flora then decides that she'll learn how to play, and she looks online, finding Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Jeff. Now, from here, I really thought the movie was going to be a romance. And even though Flora lives in Dublin and Jeff lives in California, the vibe appears like they may get together at some point. Let me save you some heartache and frustration now, though. This is so much less of a romance and more of a family drama, focusing on a mom and son learning to find common ground and then develop a relationship while also both growing in maturity. Now, Hewson is wonderful in this. She's sometimes annoying and even grating, especially when she's not acting like an adult that her son needs. But all that also provides the room for character growth for her. I mean, she's got great screen presence, creating this persona that we want to root for, even if she keeps getting in her own way. She's also snarky, which I like, adding some humor to the mix that's sometimes witty and occasionally biting. And Kinlan plays a punk so well. Max is frustrating, but comes across as a very real character, just full of angst, anger, and a lack of know-how on expressing emotions constructively. And it also doesn't help that his mom doesn't really express her emotions constructively, so we can't really fault him too much. Now, Jack Reynor plays Max's dad and Flora's ex-husband, and he reminds me a bit of his character in Sing Street, a little aloof and musically inclined, but here he's also more self-absorbed, mirroring Flora in a lot of ways and then illustrating why they probably didn't stay together. Now, most of the time when we see Gordon Levitt's Jeff, he's on a computer screen over a FaceTime or Zoom-like setting. Now, he's shy and soft-spoken, but he's instantly charismatic and endearing. At times, while Flora is having an online session with Jeff, the camera will then pan around her to then show Jeff standing or sitting right across from her in the same location. Now, I loved this effect because it demonstrated the closeness and intimacy through words that were being built between the two, and it also gave their interactions more depth and resonance. And just like in some of Carney's other films, music does have a large prominence here. The songs are infectious and they're catchy, while also creating a sense of fun, longing, or romance. And again, while there is a romantic tension that's between Flora and Jeff, the story never loses its focus on the growth journey between Flora and Max. And I think this is where the story shines the brightest. There is huge growth displayed by Flora. She is forced to step up or walk away, both of which would be emotionally taxing and difficult. And what I really appreciate is that when we do see Flora undergo character growth, she doesn't abandon who she is at the core. She's still fun-loving, snarky, rude, biting, and funny, but she also has moved from point A to point C with continued growth on the horizon. And this is a quick watch at just 97 minutes, but it doesn't skip on the drama or the story engagement. Each beat draws us closer into Flora's life and really her thoughts too, captured so well through small conversations or revelations. And there are a couple of montages that help the story move through time, but we also get to see the needed actions that fill in the blanks and just don't leave us hanging with a convoluted or incomplete story. And while this may not have every resolution and outcome that you're rooting for, the conclusion is satisfying and it feels like a very natural fit for the narrative. I didn't feel cheated or shorted, but left the movie uplifted, inspired, and smiling. Overall, Flora and Son is a beautiful love letter to the relationship of a son and mother. Eve Hewson is spectacular, beginning as a listless character and transforming into someone with drive, determination, and goals. The music is infectious and works to complement the story beats, punctuating emotional arcs with appropriate lyrics and catchy melodies. And while this may not have the full romantic outcome some are wishing for, the story is lovingly crafted to present flawed but relatable characters who learn to approach and overcome their emotional obstacles. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and no violence. I give Flora and Son 4 out of 5 couches. So, what's a good uplifting movie that you've seen recently? Let me know about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.